I will immediately stand down as chair. My term of office has come to an end. Are you going to run the election?
I can do.
There's no vice chair.
Okay, so I guess we have to thank Tom for all this.
Cheers, Tom.
Cheers,
Cheers,
Tom.
Do we have any nominations for the election of chair?
Tom.
Seconded.
Do we have any more? All those in favour of Tom? Everybody?
Well done, Tom. Thank you very much.
Everybody? Job done.
All right, we move to
That's why you never left.
election of vice chair. Oh, do I need to do anything about acceptance of office?
Oh, no, we can do that later.
Election of vice chair.
Can I just say, I did have a written nomination from Brian to say he's keen to stand again. if he wanted.
Yes, I understand Brian Mead is keen to stand again as vice
There's an
chair.
opportunity here.
Seconded.
Otherwise, you have
I'll propose him as I didn't have to
And
use
answer.
that for self-proposed.
All right, so that's proposed and seconded. Do we have any other nominations for vice chair? No, in which case all those in favour please show. Any against? Any abstentions? No. All right. Apologies for absence. Well, we have apologies from Brian Mead and
Councillor Mead and Councillor John Babstock.
yes, who we send our best to. Evacuation procedures. So the fire door is over there. If that door is blocked, we use the main door to go back into the foyer, and we muster in the car park outside. Declarations of interest. No. Okay. So we move on to the vacancy for a councillor. I believe we have one interested person here tonight for the vacancy. So what we'll do then is we'll just take a quick, it doesn't have to be a presentation, but just a quick statement about who you are and why you'd like to join the council. And then I'll give councillors an opportunity to ask any questions, and then we'll move to a vote. All right.
Sorry, you want me to?
You can stand up, or if you want to sit down, you can move to the front row. And
Something missing here, but anyway, I'll do my best. Right, I'm Sue Marsden. I live just over the border in Caulfield. I've been a Bristol City Councillor in the past. I've made some links with Filton through the Training Association and through Phase. I've also, when I was a councillor in Bristol, I sat on the Public Rights of Way and Greens Committee, and I continued to sit on the Public Rights of Way Committee. And I'm also on the Merseyside and Tarrant Drainage Board, which kind of fit with my interest in environmental issues. I was the governor at UHBW NHS Trust for 9 years, which is the maximum term you can serve from 2013 to 2022. Also served 6 years on the National Executive Committee of the Cooperative Party, and 6 years as a member of the council of the Co-op Group. And I'm a member of Unite, the union, and I've been on the national and I'm currently on the regional disabled members committee. I've come to know people in Filton. I've come to know Base and other. I was also on the management committee of the Upper Hallfield Community Trust, which covers part of this area as well as Bristol. I think I've got a lot to offer as a councillor, and I obviously want to serve the people of Filton. I'm very impressed with some of the activities that go on here. So if you want to ask me any questions, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the presentation. Do councillors have any questions? No? In which case then, do we have, we don't have any other,
No, we did have one other, but they've not shown for the last two meetings, so.
Can I propose we co-op with Sue? She has amazing experience and we'd be foolish to miss her.
all right, do we have a second? Okay, all those in favour of co-opting Sue to the council, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? All right, thank you very much. There we are, you're co-opted to the council. Welcome.
Let's take a seat and then we'll start.
You can join us.
What do I do now?
You can
Take a
join us
seat,
next
yeah.
to Alex.
There's a few things in
All right, submissions from the public. We've just had the town forum, but
I'm here because I had a conversation with Lucy Rees from South West Council, who's a climate change officer. And she was asking me what I thought about the introduction of a nature reserve in the area and surrounding the community garden, and looking at joining up the getting residents and adjoining gardens as a start. And I had a conversation with Scott downstairs, and I've been we talked about maybe joining up down here and making this area a bit more kind of wildlife friendly down there. But you know, that's the reason I'm here. I thought Lucy was going to be presenting, and she's not. So do you know something about this?
So Lucy did turn up today,
She did?
but obviously as we had the AGM,
Yeah.
we asked if she could come back at another meeting, so she's more than happy to. I've had some discussions with with my South Cross Nature and Climate Emergency hands-on, so I think it's a fantastic idea. So yeah, really eager to get her down here, working with the Nature and Community Group and yourselves. I think that's a brilliant idea.
I think it'd be great to work with the South Cross, Filton Council, Active Nation, the garden, and anybody else who wants to chip in and get some volunteers and do it. Yeah.
As you just looped in on where.
Yeah, of course, we were doing the working group before this meeting, but obviously because we had a council assembly beforehand, we couldn't do both, so just going to come back to the next one in
Yeah.
July.
I can invite you to the working group on the land as a
Yeah.
Yeah.
Possibly not quite the right place for it, when I have photos to send to Leslie. We seem to have a pest issue at the bottom of Elm Park, where we've got this kind of bug that looks like spider webs that's annihilated at least 3 of the bushes.
I think it's caterpillars. I think that the grounds team were called to trees over by the Ferndale side last week, and they were covered in this.
Yeah, apparently
Film.
it can just wipe out whole
Is that
sections.
I think this is something that Steve England has just been talking about, the ermine moss caterpillar, which makes this kind of shield, and the caterpillars eat the leaves.
It looks
Of
like
a
someone's
particular kind of birch, ermine birch.
spent a lot of money on their Halloween decorations. You don't know.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's really,
Um,
really looking, yeah.
I
like
think
it's
it's what- because someone had said that it in another location it's just wiped out a whole hedgerow, and that's just taken 2 years to grow back. Is it something you need to jump on quickly before it really takes,
It's the first I've heard of it, but Carly's written it down.
or is it something natural that's just part of the ecosystem of the world that we need to live and let live?
It's a bug, it's got out of control. Basically, the way to combat it is to net and put netting over all the bushes potentially in the area. You can go in and kill the bugs on the particular plant, but you can put netting over it, and that will stop it from being able to infect.
I thought we're encouraging bugs lately, not
Yeah, but not to the point where what's happened is you've probably got an imbalancing predator and.
So Alan's going to bring Weedle as his predator.
No, I wouldn't use that.
All right.
Okay, we'll look into that.
Does that cover what you wanted to raise?
Yeah, that's all I was here for.
All right. Thank you for coming anyway. We have had one submission in writing from Michelle Greaves, who I'm sure most councillors will be familiar with. And she's asked for this to be read out, so I'll do that now. Any activity which involves community engagement is likely to involve a lot of different opinions. I wanted to take this opportunity at the annual meeting of Filton Town Council to thank the council for navigating this challenge and representing the needs of its entire community as much as possible. On a personal level, this has been in relation to a very emotive and difficult planning application, but I've also seen Filton Town Council manage views around lighting in Millennium Green, the new gate system and accessibility challenges, fly tipping and making decisions around community grant funding. Thank you for all the work you do, many voluntarily, throughout the year. It would be remiss of me not to mention other groups who are vital in our community, FACE, who engage and support our community with a wide range of activities, and the local neighbourhood beat team, who not only keep us updated, but have reached out by setting up community engagement events through our wonderful new Active Nation Centre to hear the views of local residents. Keep up the great work. It's easy to say when things aren't right, so I wanted to take the opportunity to thank you all for all your hard work for Filton. From Michelle and Moira of Rectory Lane Community. That was nice to have.
I'm not going to pass it, George. I'm going to pass it to Adam. Not to read out, just to read. Once you'll get to the email.
So that was the only piece of written public participation. So the next item is to approve the minutes of the council meeting held 30th of April 2024. Do we have a proposer to approve those minutes? Dan? And a seconder? Dan? All those in favour of approving those minutes, please show. Any against? And any abstentions? Matters of report.
Apologies,
Oh.
sorry, I'm an abstention, not an approver.
Okay.
I was not there, so I can't.
I've always engaged.
Can we second powers on already?
Any matters arising from the minutes?
I've got one on the leisure centre opening. Can't see it anywhere else on the agenda, is it?
Leisure centre opening? I don't think so. No.
Just to say that due to the pre-election,
Nonsense.
what's the word?
Period.
Pre-election period, it's advisable not to hold the official opening at that point, being that the town council funded it and could be seen to be politically showcasing. So we're going to postpone that until the September time. We'll confirm a date near the time.
Are we not as a town council apolitical and therefore,
We are, but it's all about publicity when it comes to pre-election.
but we're
So,
not publicising, as I know that we are a majority one party.
yeah, official
Town council,
openings
right.
are one of the ones in the list that we're not supposed to do.
It's because it's funded through public press.
An Active Nation are aware of it.
But yeah, they're aware of it from a previous election, so they didn't want to do it on Monday.
Okay, so we do need to approve and adopt, sorry, Julie.
Sorry, I was just wondering, regarding Jennings Park, whether there's any updates? Because I know there was some discussion about whether.
The Jennings Park, we were going to bring up when we got back to the local plan, whichever working group that is. But we've not met again since the last time.
Right.
That's where that's going back to, isn't it?
Is that the cars?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
wondering, because I know there was some discussion about what we could and couldn't do.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to update you on that, because I'm not actually too sure what I'm doing with it, if I'm honest. Anything to do with land on the border, I was reporting back to that working group, so it's just gotten a little bit of a.
I also wondered if that was an area that perhaps Pyramid might be able to be involved in. Seeing as they don't have any sort of outside land, do they?
Yeah, I think it's very close to that.
Because presumably some of the kids who would go might live in that area anyway, so they should be entitled to use that space.
And it's supposed to be for unrestricted play, isn't it? That's why it was donated. I might not have that exactly correct. Any other matters arising before I move on? Okay, so we need to approve, and you should have copies of either physically or virtually, the standing orders and then the financial regulations. So I'll the standing orders first. Alex.
Just a point on the standing orders, either if we want to strike or enforce. Page 4, item 1.0, so rules of debate of meetings. Unless permitted by the chair of the meeting, council may only speak once in debate on a motion, except for several very narrow restrictions. I'll put my hands up and say I definitely speak more than once. My question to the group here is, do we want to strike that or do we want to enforce that? I don't mind which way you want to go, but at the moment we don't follow our own standing order.
Tom, can you press that purple part, please, and I'll get to the
That's on page.
Personally, I will leave it in
Page
there.
4 of the standing orders, you've got to speak. So spot on page 4, item 1.0, unless permitted by the chair.
It's a bit of a weaselly worded standing order, though, isn't it? Because if the chair decides to allow the debate to carry on, then everyone's allowed to speak more than once anyway. But I did see hands going up.
I'd be in favour of striking it, because as you just pointed out, the chair can curtail any discussion if it's going around the room 2 or 3 times. You can cut it short and say, you've had your say, just reiterating.
Okay. So we've got a proposal. Adam.
I would say enforce it. Because we witter on. And people repeat what everyone else has said.
It is enforced at South Gloss. Effectively, you speak once on a motion and then you don't speak again unless it's an amendment.
It does tighten it up, it does.
Keeps
Formalise
it,
it a bit better.
keeps the debate fresh.
So we've got one proposal to strike it. So are you proposing that we?
I'd second Adam's proposal to hold it.
Okay. Julie and then Dan.
Just saying that as it stands, it says to exercise the right to reply, so if we kept it like that would still allow some discussion to occur, surely.
Dan?
That's exactly what I was going to say. We have the control of the chair there and the right of reply within it, which I think covers usually our somewhat over-length discussions that we do have. And we're all, I'm as guilty as everyone else. I mean, more than one bite at the cherry, but yeah. No, our newly elected chair can rule with an iron fist.
I tried to get training for everyone on rules of debate, but no one was very keen to come and do it.
Well, we've got a proposed and seconded motion to enforce this standing order. So we'll go to the vote on it. All those in favour of enforcing it? And against? All right, so I think that's carried.
They're only talking once and you've got to.
I shall make sure you only speak once on each item this meeting. Okay. Were there any other points on the standing orders that people wanted to raise? No. In which case, do I have a proposer to accept the standing orders as they have just been amended? Adam, and a seconder, Anne? All right, all those in favour of accepting those standing orders, please show.
Ready?
And against. Abstentions. So the next one is the financial regulations.
These are a bit more tricky.
These are more tricky
Well, because they're brand new sets, so rather than just the old set recirculated, you actually literally have to go through and fill in. So I've noticed a couple of anomalies on, if you look at 5.15,
which is on page.
It's on page
If you get there before us, do shout out
8.
what page it's on. On page
No,
8,
it's not on page 8.
No.
It's on page 9.
No.
on page 9, we are looking at 5.15, which is the final point on that page.
So this is what the auditor always picks up, is that we have different, what's the word, delegated authority on things. So if you look at 5.15 and it says the clerk under delegated authority for any items below £500, so not a lot of money, is it? This day and age.
That says 1,000 on one.
Yeah, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, no, the first line. Oh, did I say 1,000?
You've
Or was
already
I typed
increased
up?
it to 1,000
Oh, okay.
on ours.
That's fine, that answers my own question. I worked on these for ages and then you forget where you were. So there's another one on 6.9, it says 1,000. 6.9.9 says 1,000.
So are we being asked if we agree to allow you delegated authority to spend
Yeah.
up to £1,000 without
Yeah.
coming to council?
Yeah.
Can I propose an amendment to that? Because that's just ridiculous sum of money. Could I propose we amend that to something more sensible?
If you've got them in front of you, it says 5,000 in conjunction with the chair. So if there's anything,
I was going to propose it should be to £5,000. We pay, my argument for that is we pay the financial officer, i.e. the clerk, a lot of money to run this council on our behalf. And if they're not trusted to spend £1,000, you are undermining their authority, in my view.
well, because I'm leaving, that's why I'm trying to get it right, because I kind of do it anyway normally, but I'm just trying to make sure it's in the rules.
£5,000 is not a lot of money.
About 0.5% of our budget.
So that's on both for that 5.15 and the other one then, yeah? So there's 5,000.
So we've had that motion proposed and seconded.
Can you just clarify, sorry, what's it changing to?
From 500
From
to
£500 to £5,000
Right.
for the clerk to be able to spend under her delegated authority.
So
or their delegated
are we then going to increase the other finance as well, because they're.
Yeah, so in conjunction with the chair, council, for items below excluding 5,000. We need to make that 10.
Having said we've already come back once, that I would then propose we change that to 10.
They've all gone out. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seriously looking for a copy. I've got my email.
Did you say there's not the same?
That's
Yeah,
standing orders.
orders to the financial.
We've got the hard copy, but can we have them back at the end, because they're the ones that are. Oh, actually, we have put the new ones in.
So the proposal on the table, which I believe you're still happy to second, Alex?
Yes.
Is that under 5.15, it will now read, the clerk under delegated authority for any items below £5,000 excluding VAT. Point 2, the clerk in consultation with the chair of the council or chair of the appropriate committee for any items below £10,000 excluding VAT. And then the final point will read the council for all items over £10,000. So that has been proposed and seconded. Alan, I think you wanted to say something?
Yeah, are you basing your decisions upon the existing management team?
And
Because
budgets.
I trust the existing management team. We don't know who the new management team will be. Do you trust them? Do you not want to wait until you've actually got, and you know exactly who you're dealing with?
In their defence, every payment has come from council anyway, so they wouldn't really get very far with it.
But surely if you give the clerk, whoever they may be, the authority to just go ahead and spend £5,000, that doesn't come back to the council until after the spend has taken place.
True.
So it's an interesting
I like
point.
how trust.
Can if I can reply, which but we are running £1 million budget, and if you can't spend £5,000, you're asking somebody who we pay a sizable salary to, you're asking them to operate with such micromanagement that I just feel that we're micromanaging too much. And you employ somebody to run something, I accept there is risk, I genuinely accept that, but we're paying somebody to be responsible for £1 million budget, but then they can only spend £1,000 without going and asking mummy and daddy. It's a bit. That's just the way I see it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just.
So these financial regs are templates from now, because some of the councils are just like got little village pond and nothing else, and others are big like us and Bradley Stoke and everywhere else.
Dan,
Come two-part question. One is, how often would this occur? What's the day-to-day? How often do you go, I now have to go and get this £505 approved? And then there was another part, I can't remember what I was going to say.
Not very often, to be fair, is it, these days?
No, not.
In the old days, with the pool and the plant room and everything else, it would have been a problem if I'd had to come back to council, but we don't have that now.
And then, that was the other part, would they be outside of a budget line that is already existing? Therefore, if you go over a budget line,
Yeah,
So
that's
you-
my point with income expenditure reports, if it's already in the budget, it's already got that itemised.
it's already been pre-allocated, not quite a PO, but
Yeah.
as close as
Yeah.
within our structure. So I'd say that it's within a budget line, then if it was outside a budget line, you'd have to come to council. I assume that's understood within that, is it?
Yeah.
Or does that need to be specified?
No, that didn't need to be specified. Just impress Alan and Justin.
were there any
Track record,
other
so.
comments, and then I'm going to move to the vote? No? All right, so we've got a proposal from Adam, seconded by Alex. Does everyone understand the proposal? I don't need to repeat it. Nope. All right, all those in favour of that proposal, please show. Against? Abstentions? All right, so that is passed.
There was one more, where's my list? Bank transfers on there somewhere, because I do that all the time, without actually realising it's not in the rules.
As long as it's not Tyrannical.
No, but because we've been obviously doing this big project, I've transferred as much as, well, who authorised it? 150, 200,000 from one bank to the other, just to keep it in the best interest. I think it says 10,000 in these, wherever point it's on.
Banking and payments, is it?
Is that 694?
694. Fund transfers within the council's banking arrangements up to the sum of £100,000,
Yeah.
provided that, so the clerk
Mine
and
still
I
says
both-
10.
So this says 100.
Okay, I already thought.
I would probably want you to bring anything that you're going to transfer over 100, or is that going
It's
to?
kind of a day-to-day operational thing, isn't it, when we need to move money,
It's just moving from one Filton type bank to another Filton type bank.
and we've got no better access to it.
Alex?
A dumb question. If it's transferring within our own accounts, why does there need to be a limit? The funds are not leaving the council's.
So the theory being, if we were fraudulent, we could move it to an account that only needs us to sign,
Mhm.
and then we could come on it or something, I guess. But
Do we
obviously,
have any accounts that have that sign up?
only the NatWest.
I don't have that list.
No, it's only me, so no.
So if we have no accounts that don't require councillor authorisation, then,
Well, but there's one which
so there is one, sorry.
only
No,
has its
no.
signs.
And yeah, there's just me that signs it.
Okay.
But it does need two. Just need two signatures.
The paper one, but not the bank transfer. I can't do
Yeah.
bank transfer from that one.
To be fair, there's a question as to whether there should be an account for.
Yeah, they probably should have. Dan?
So the existing situation is, in theory, you can only move 10,000 at a time. And we've now just authorised you to be able to pay 5,000.
Mm.
Even if you were able to move 100,000, it would still take quite a long time to move those 5,000.
Yeah.
So this will allow transfers up to 100,000.
Within the banks, but to
Yeah.
actually withdraw it fraudulently,
Yeah,
let's go to
okay.
limit of 5, which would still then, I mean, if you were fraudulent, you would have just take it. Yeah, I suppose it all becomes rather moot, whether it's written on a bit of paper or not.
So in my language, the way I work is all of our money is in the savings, and I just bring it back in when we need it. Sometimes it's that currently we have to pay a big bill for activation of someone, which shouldn't really happen that often.
Not more, got one, maybe one now.
I think 100,000.
Could I just ask an operational question, Chair? So at the moment, I'm one of the authorities, but to move any money, you need the council approval as well, as I understand it, because you emailed me saying,
Can you prove
please
it?
log on and approve. So my understanding is, on our internet banking, you are not a sole authority to move any money.
No.
So then the figure in some respects is irrelevant because it requires
You need to
currently
transfer it,
2
put
or
it in.
3 councillors to log in to authorise it.
Yeah.
So I think the first point on this and the second point need to be amended because they need to match up with your ability to spend that we just made on 5.15. Unless you can tell me otherwise, I think the ability to transfer £100,000 between accounts on a day-to-day basis when we have a finance meeting every month and things that are passed by motion, you could say the council's given you approval. So if it was to transfer 190 for the MOOCA, I'm not really clear why you need, I don't mean you personally, why the
I get
clerk
it.
needs the power to transfer sums greater than £100,000 without at least informing the council. That is 10% of our annual income.
Because we pay all the bills and then we transfer. You don't get notification of that until the following meeting. So if there's a whole load of stuff coming out, like the loan money, for instance, PWRB
But
payments.
the loan is already approved by the council, isn't it? It's not, this is almost like a new transfer.
Yeah, but I still have to take it out of the savings to put in the bank to make sure the payment goes on the right day.
Alex,
We just received that payment back, I think it was about £104,000. That would have meant that Leslie couldn't have transferred that until the next council meeting.
Mhm.
Just within our, as I said, it's within our own banking infrastructure, so that's why I'm querying the,
And like I said, you two do have to, at the moment,
all three.
2 out of 3 of you have to sign in and move it. I think 100,000 is about right, because I do 200 and 300 sometimes. I think the precept, when the precept comes in, is every 6 months is 550,000.
Yeah.
I'd like to move that to get the best interest on the day.
well, I'm happy to take a proposal anyway from councillors because we need to move it on. I've got Alex and then Dan.
Sorry, you just said there that 100,000 is fine, but then you just said in the next breath, I move more than that, and then when the precept
I always move more than that. I've never
Yeah,
really
so-
read it in the financial regs of
So
what I'm supposed to be doing
arguably,
it.
what you're saying as clerk is that you should have more than 100,000 based on operational things you have to do with the precept and other activities.
Yeah.
Okay, so sorry, you get there.
£100,000 would be the minimum, really. 10,000 would be a waste of time.
Dan.
I'd like to propose up to £500,000 to move between internal accounts because we don't want to waste a month's worth of interest, especially now it's in the actual percentages rather than points of
I
percentages.
think that's what the difference is. Since interest rates have gone up, there's been more moving around.
It becomes thousands of pounds quite quickly on that. So
That makes complete sense. I don't know why I put my hand up. I'd just like to amend your proposal just so we're covering points 1 and 2 under 6.9, so they match up with what we said under 5.15. So any payments up to £5,000 within an agreed budget, payments of up to £10,000 because those also seem quite low. Those first.
Yeah,
two.
they would seem to have the page, wouldn't they? So those are going to 10
was that covered not in the previous phase?
Yeah.
I think we only covered 5.15, didn't we?
Mhm.
So we need to cover it on this regulation as well. If you're happy to take that as an amendment.
Yeah.
All right, so the motion as amended, do you have a seconder, by the way? Alex. Motion as amended is under point 1, any appointments up to £5,000 excluding VAT within an agreed budget. 2, payments of up to £10,000 excluding VAT in cases of serious risk to the delivery of council services. And then under point 4, fund transfers within the council's banking arrangements up to the sum of £500,000. Provided that a list of such payments shall be submitted to the next appropriate meeting of council or finance committee, or that'll be to finance and general purposes. So we've got that proposed and seconded. All those in favour of that, please show.
Everybody?
That's everybody. Any against? Any abstentions? That's passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Was there anything else?
No, that was the ones I was.
Okay. Has anyone else got anything on these financial regulations they wanted to propose?
Petty cash on number 10, we no longer have petty cash, so that's gone. Don't have any cash on the facility.
In which case, can I have a proposer for us to adopt these financial regulations as amended? Adam, seconder, Dan. All those in favour, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? No, that's passed unanimously. Thank you very much. I know that those are the dry bit of council business, but it is
Yeah, but it's
important.
really good to get it right because quite often the auditor just picks up 2 lines and makes sense, doesn't it? So, out time.
Well, we've got another, I think, hopefully fairly dry bit of business. We have a general power of competence that allows us to do anything that an ordinary citizen could do. We have to reaffirm this every year.
Every election year, but it's also good. I just do it every year because.
Okay, well, we are reaffirming it. So can I have a proposer that we confirm our eligibility, if I could say the word, eligibility of general power of competence?
Well, I'm not sure we can.
Get the words out.
Alex, seconder.
I thought you were going to ask me what you needed to be eligible.
All right, all those in favour, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? Confirmation of insurance arrangements, pages 3 to 19. Alex?
Just a question for the clerk, any significant changes since last year?
No. Apart from the price.
And everything.
Can I have a proposer that we confirm our insurance arrangements? Adam? Seconder, Alex?
sorry.
Oh, Dan.
I assume it's come down since a
Yeah.
couple of years
It used to be
ago.
about 30,000. So now we're like kind of landlord insurance almost. Bits in between there.
Any other questions on the insurance, or do people want some more time to read through it?
If we've ever circulated the whole policy before.
All right, well, Julie.
Sorry, does it need to be amended now that there's no longer a bar on site, there's no beer, wine, tobacco, etc.? Or is that just like a general?
I think it's just a general, it's better, probably better to be in there in case we ever do.
And does that mean that we insure the building because we own the building, don't we? And it's just
Yeah.
application just run it for us, so they don't.
They've got
have
their own insurance for their operational side of things
Right,
and their own equipment. We don't insure any of their equipment.
so we just building sort of.
Yeah.
The
Structure.
but presumably any council content, so office equipment, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so that's in there. And also the tablets that you've all got are all covered. Seems with those two.
Any other question? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, just, do we go out, is it like when you're doing your normal insurance for your house, and then do you go out and get quotes?
Yeah, we do. This one's for 3 years because it was a good price, so. Do go out.
Alan?
What insurance do activation carry against anything that might happen within the building? It could potentially impact us.
Can I ask that question and get back to you?
Because I'm just thinking that an action that one of their employees takes could cause a fire, which we're then responsible for replacing the building. Do we claim off them, or do we have to claim off our own insurance?
Get a copy of this. Sure, I've got it in the contract file, but need to find out.
Any other questions on insurance?
Good question.
All right.
I recognise we need to accept the insurance. And I recognise you're proposing this policy. Would it be good practice in future if we would see the quote you provided? Or do you go for a broker and this is the one they recommend?
So we've done this one through NOC, which is for the
Yeah.
preferred insurers. So we've not really gone out to send them this year.
No, I'm just asking in
Yeah.
terms of due diligence,
Yeah.
should we
We
be?
should. Every few years. Definitely.
Got a proposer and a seconder to accept the insurance arrangement, so if there are no other questions, I'll move to the vote. All those in favour, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? All right, that was unanimous. Now, confirm internal audit arrangements, which is pages 20 to 27 of your
Aye.
pack.
Probably need to declare an interest. This reports to me as a cabinet member.
Thank you.
We use South Gloss,
Um,
as you can see on here.
So they do an internal audit and then we have an external.
Yeah.
Alex.
I assume there are no, these audit arrangements, have they changed in the last year?
Yeah.
And was anything picked up by the external audit as being acceptable? Not that I remember.
No. There's one time, do you remember when they said we had to follow the Transparency Act and we hadn't done it, and then we challenged it and they apologised?
That's fine.
Dan.
Propose to accept.
Okay,
Seconded.
seconded by Alex. If there are no other questions, it's proposed and seconded that we accept the internal audit arrangements. All those in favour, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? Unanimous. To confirm arrangements for services from Accounting Solutions Limited. So,
So that's not in there, is it? Because it was just an email that came to me.
Yeah, we-
Yeah, I can't get the email. So basically, they were saying, there's not an actual contractual arrangement with our accountants. It is. I can't think of the word in, I'm gonna have to circulate that to you.
T&O.
Hmm?
T&O.
Time materials.
Can't
So
remember what
we
it
pay for a certain number of days, they do a certain number of days worth of work for us.
No, they didn't actually say that, what they were sort of, I can't remember, I'm just making myself watch the video, so I just need to re-get that email and circulate it tomorrow or something. My emails will,
Because
yeah.
the time's caught up, but then you must have it.
Mm.
can we take a vote on this?
I was going to
Yeah,
ask that,
no,
Chair, if
don't.
we can't,
I don't think we can take a
We've
vote on
not,
this.
we've done, we've not ever done it before, it's only somebody raised it at the last meeting to agree it at the annual meeting.
So would you
All right, if councillors are happy, then we'll wait for further information from the clerk and move that motion to the next full council.
It's a bit of a gentleman's agreement, as long as we gave a period of notice either side, type wording.
So then, next item 15, complaints procedure on page 28.
Standard, I haven't changed anything in there.
Nothing has changed. We have a proposer to accept the complaints procedure, seconded by Dan. Any questions on that? Dan Harris. Yeah. All those in favour of accepting the complaints procedure, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? Debt recovery policy, which is pages 29 to 32 of your packs.
Not changed anything there, it's the same as it was.
Do we have any trouble recovering debts?
No. Grab trouble with certain people paying them.
Alex?
I assume this is just a standard,
It is.
I'm surprised if we had our own dedicated debt recovery policy.
In that we're live streaming, I'll update you one at the end.
Okay. Do we have a proposer to accept the debt recovery policy? Dan Harris, seconded by Dan Boardman. All those in favour of accepting the debt recovery policy, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? That's unanimous.
I've just read through this where it says multiple debts on page 31, and it refers to a school, presumably it's just because it's been.
Pardon, can you say that again? I want to
Something
listen.
else policy. 7.3,
7.3.
page 31, multiple debt.
Yeah,
Rather than the council, it says when someone
Debt to the
owes more than
school,
one
yeah.
debt to the school.
just because the surplus do the schools.
Just change that
Change
word
that
to
wording, yeah.
council.
Thank you.
Right.
The numbers have gone a bit more crunched.
Submissions from members, there aren't any, so that's item 17. Well, it's one of the item 17s.
Yeah, so,
Um,
under submissions from members, should we talk about pre-election
Yes, shall I
stuff? I
start
can't
on
think
that?
of find anywhere else on there we can bring it up.
So I had a discussion with the clerk prior to the beginning of the annual meeting. I have a proposal, although I'm obviously open to discussion, other proposals from councillors. Based on the information we've received from ALCA and the fact that we have got several things that we have to do by the end of June, including signing off our annual accounts, our annual governance and audit, and we have the ongoing, we're in the position where we have an ongoing vacancy arising for the clerk that we need to process. The proposal I'm going to put to you is that we continue with normal council meetings and the committees. We don't continue with any of the working groups because they involve members of the public and aren't recorded. But those council meetings and committees will only discuss operational business related to the council and statutory business that we have to complete. So we won't be taking any motions. We won't be taking any reports from councillors who sit on outside bodies. And any report from the clerk will be purely operational. That's the proposal, which is balancing the risk that we do something that breaks the rules around PERDA with the fact that we have got business as a town council that we need to continue during the election period. It is only 1 month, but we have got things we need to get done by the end of June. I'll open that to discussion if I've got a seconder.
I'll second that.
All right. Dan.
I think what Leslie circulated earlier is fairly clear that we are able to do that.
Yeah.
And that does seem the most sensible way to go forwards. Just to question the neighbourhood plan and the local nature action plan, are they both working groups or one a committee? Which way did we go with neighbourhood plans and council? One is
The local nature action plan is definitely a committee. It's definitely a working group.
The neighbourhood plan is a working group.
Budget is next.
Budget one is a subcommittee of finance. If it weren't for the audit stuff at the end of the year, accounts would be easy, just not meet in June, but it's
We have
just
got-
meet and just do the statutory things.
All right, so we've got a proposer. Do we have in fact, we've got a seconder as well because Adam seconded. So I'm going to take a.
Sorry, can I just query, is there a reason we're not suspending commit? Oh, I know you need finance, I suppose, I see.
Because well, we need, so staffing committee needs to meet to discuss the advert so we can bring a proposal forward and keep within the timelines of, and that's purely, what staffing does is purely operational anyway. Planning, I think, is a statutory committee and can continue to meet regardless, and they'll still be planning applications going into South Gloss. And yeah, finance is a full committee of all council anyway, which we'll need for the annual accounts.
And staff can only make recommendations, so it needs to go to finance. So.
Yeah. All right, we've got a proposal and a seconder. So all those in favour of those arrangements, please show. Any against? Any abstentions? No, that's passed unanimously.
So we already mentioned the official opening earlier. Should we say the same about the festival? Because obviously there's political stands at the festival. So the advice is,
We should remove the political stands and then we're good to go for the yearly.
Yeah.
I was going to say exactly the same. My
Yeah.
view is that this is pretty much an annual event, so it's not in any way electioneering. But as long as there's no political participation in terms of a Labour Party stand, Conservatives, whatever, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to proceed. It's not something we've arranged as a one-off.
it's just the fact that it's funded by the council. So no, it's outsourced. It works quite well this year that it's outsourced because we're not hands-on with it.
But because my argument back to that is just it is, it's unfortunate
Business
when
as
it
usual.
is, but it's not something we've done this 1 year as a one-off. and it was scheduled way before the election was called.
Yeah, I think everyone's happy with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Do we need to vote on that?
Yeah, but do it just so in case anyone challenges me on it.
all right, so
In favour, I've put a motion for then of maintaining the film festival, obviously with the removal of any political stands.
okay. We've got Dan Boardman as a seconder. All those in favour of that motion? Any against? Any abstentions? That's unanimous.
Plus it means you're not on duty when you're there.
Can I just ask the question, what if, the local MP turned up?
That's fine, because it's just in his own time, it's not, we're not providing him with a stall or anything. 'Cause we talked about that, didn't we?
You can't control who attends, can you?
Me and Tom have had a discussion about his chain, does he walk around with his chain on the day? Is that a civic responsibility or is that a, I'm waiting for Olga to get back to me, but
I think that's a civic responsibility, isn't it?
As long as you don't resist your own.
I mean, I'm absolutely.
If you want to wear your paper clips.
Yeah, I'd only wear it for the opening of the festival anyway, so it's whether we think that's a political action. I am not.
I think getting on-
bothered.
Greg, I personally, I would not, but that would my
I'd
advice would
definitely
be
get
to.
some advice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there is also, you need to take some advice because I think other councillors were involved in taking part in the festival. Maybe discuss that.
Okay,
That's sorted. Appointment of committee, are we on to appointment of committee members and outside bodies? I'm slightly confused by the numbering.
yeah.
All right. Have we got a list of committees and outside bodies that people can
So
volunteer?
can we suggest we do that at the next meeting? That's what, every year we forward it on to the next one, because it's quite a long process of going through all the outside bodies.
Will that mean though we have to leave it to July's meeting?
It's
So
fine, no one doesn't,
can we just have who's on the committees at the moment? Carry on. Sorry, Dan, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to clarify.
there's a piece of work in hand, it's going, bringing all the different groups, make sure they still exist and make sure what their requirements are and when they meet and all those sorts of, so it's probably better to
So we
move to
actually-
July anyway.
Dan, you had a
I
question.
was going to say, it'd be really useful to have a list of what those groups are and
Yeah.
who is.
They are normally in the papers, it's just that Carver's working on them to find out.
And who the existing
Who
members
exists,
are, who
yeah.
we've volunteered ourselves and forgotten about.
Yeah.
Et cetera.
Alex, sorry.
No, that's fine. I was just going to ask, does this cover appointing members to our own committees and groups as well?
No, so finance is the same as full council, isn't it? And then at the first meeting of finance, you'll do the subcommittees from there, the staffing and the,
Okay, does that include the neighbourhood plan and the local neighbourhood group? Do they come
Yes.
up with council or they go on finance?
I don't know, I lost the plot from that, to be honest.
So the neighbourhood plan is the planning item when these projects came
Full
on
council,
finance and it's local.
Can we,
Again, not saying we need to now, just.
Planning committee, that is.
Yeah.
can we do that? Do we
Yeah.
need to take advice in July whether we can actually appoint to those committees? Or is that political? I don't see that it is. It's
That's operational.
operational. Yeah. Okay.
So what's the question? Can you do that tonight?
No, I was just
Okay.
wondering whether there would be a problem because the next finance is July, it will be after.
They just roll on until the next one, it's like staffing will stay
But
the
would
same.
we then have to pass a resolution that the existing members remain? Do you understand?
No, let's not overthink it.
Okay, I'm overthinking it. I apologise.
So that gets next, will it go to full in July?
So that's, if councillors are happy, that will be moved to the next meeting. Any other item the chair decides is urgent, I feel like that should be at the end, but,
Didn't realise that was still on there, it's not really, could have done that with the bird stuff.
reports from committees, working groups and the town clerk, item 19. Finance committee minutes are for noting, pages 33 and 34, unless there are any queries now. Nope. Risk assessments 2024 have been circulated
By email.
by email. Alex?
Is there anything the officers would like to draw our attention?
No, we have to do flagpole, Mooga and not.
Following mitigation, do we have any serious risks or any serious residual risk?
I think it'd be good if councillors notice anything on the risk assessments if they came back in writing to the clerk, as they've been circulated by email. Planning schedule 21st of May 2024. Was there anything the planning committee wanted to draw our attention to?
Planning committee?
Alan?
Catch up on, yeah. We're talking Filton Central Garage?
That's next.
Just the
Well,
schedule
No,
for
we're just
now.
on the schedule. Was there anything on the planning schedule you wanted to draw our attention to as a committee?
Not on the schedule, no, not like we didn't cut, no.
All right. In which case,
Yes.
Yeah.
We have a conflict, I don't know whether we got past that on to Adam, with 97 Northville Road. It is already an HMO. It creates 3 in a row because it is a licensed HMO, but its license was approved prior to.
Article 4.
No, there's two houses on 3rd Avenue that go around the corner,
Oh, yes.
and they've been accepted as HMO. They've been given planning permission to become HMOs, but in the meantime, this 97 is a licensed HMO already. So there's this kind of a timeline conflict where there's a kind of a loophole that's ended up we've got 3 in a row. And I don't think there's anything that can be done about it.
No,
I'm gonna
but-
put it,
But I will email somebody and ask the question. Can I actually see the details of it?
That should be.
well, thank you for that.
I circulated one that was in one of these houses along here back next to the community garden, didn't I, Adam?
Sorry?
There was an application that came in for one of these houses at the back, back onto the community garden,
Yes,
but you thought that was all right, because we
yes. I thought it was.
probably all have to declare an interest because we're also close.
I've got that.
He's not listening.
The next point then is planning application PT 23012580 Filton Central Garage. And an update,
Okay,
if there is one.
Got an issue.
as you're aware, as you may or may not be aware, we actually sat down with the developer, Alex, myself, Adam. Discussed it and Leslie was there too. We went round various things. And basically Mr. Sampson has had to go away and possibly rejig his plans. He's agreed to do that. Perhaps not as far as I would have liked him to have gone, but let's just see what he comes back
Have you
with.
seen it? Because I've sent it back today. I've sent it around today. He emailed the 3 of us today.
Okay. In that case, then, what I think we would like to do is, there is a DMC meeting on the 6th of June. In light of the residents not being able to probably sit down and see that, we would like to see that particular meeting postponed or put back if that's at all possible. And I believe Adam's going to try and ask that question, if that's possible, of the officer. And see where we go. But I think it's a reasonable request from the residents to say, because of the potential changes that we've asked for, they want to see whether or not Mr. Sampson has implemented those changes, which I'm not aware of yet, because as I say, I haven't seen it. And whether or not the residents will find what he's done acceptable. I know it's been going on, rumbling on for well over a year now. But it will have a very large impact upon the local residents and the area if it's not done to their wishes. It's an awkward one, I know. I know it's an awkward one because we have been juggling it. And as Michelle's letter that you read out earlier, I think she fully understands just how much juggling we've had to try and do between getting this site redeveloped, because it is a brownfield site. So something's going to happen to it eventually.
Is there the worry that, sorry to cut across there, is there the worry that it could go for an August when they're on recess?
Sorry, could it?
Plan application.
Fine,
That's
let's go
what-
into recess.
No, planning.
But the
planning
committees
keep-
do, don't they?
Planning
No,
keeps going,
not
it never
planning.
stops.
Okay.
It's probably one of the only few activities within the council. It doesn't stop, isn't it? Am I correct in that? Yeah. So we won't actually stop the planning process or the regular monthly meeting, whatever it is they do. We're just asking for the residents to have an ample opportunity to sit down, look at the discussions, because when we agreed to meet Mr. Sampson, we were going to act as intermediaries, which basically means we take the information away and we relay that back to the residents. Now, if what gets relayed back to the residents isn't acceptable, I think that needs for them to be given the opportunity to go and discuss that with the planning department, or to be able to put their objections into the planning department.
Alex?
And I'm just considering what's been put to officers. Is there effectively, while I understand where residents are coming from, this feels slightly as though you have a developer who is trying to make a level of concession, and in doing so, you're asking them to wait longer. We know this developer is waiting a long time, and they're frustrated with the amount of time it has taken, understandably, but how are officers going to look upon, again, a developer attempting to make concessions and then demanding longer to potentially then object to those? Those concessions are moving in a positive direction, not a negative direction. Just perhaps a feeling for yourself as to what you think officers will say.
So
Can I just come in here, because as far as I can see, the developer is probably only going to make the minimum concessions, not a good compromise.
If I could reply, I've asked the officer, do they consider it a fundamental change, as a substantial change? If it's a substantial change, then due process has to be followed. I don't think we have any influence. I think it's an officer call, sadly. So
Yeah. No, that's what I was angling at.
Just to clarify, conflict of interest, obviously.
Okay, thank you for the update. Is there anything else you need from us as a town council?
So I was going to go away and get legal advice, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Up to whatever it was,
£15,000.
£1,500. So then I was kind of told last week to hold off, for what reason I wasn't too sure about. And then Michelle's emailed me tonight to say the preferred solicitor has advised cost of £1,500 plus that. As this is above what was granted by FTC, the Rectory Lane community can understand that Filton Town Council may not want to pursue legal advice at this stage and are currently exploring additional options. So can we just have it noted somewhere that I'm not doing it, or I'm doing it? She doesn't want me to, but she's not got the power.
Well, I mean, the motion was passed.
The motion was passed up to, with a ceiling on it, and we know it's going to be more, and they're not going to get back to us by June. I also contacted our own council solicitor, and they came back with, they can put me in touch with somebody that can deal with it to get us a quote, but it won't be.
No
In
running
June.
time.
I mean, I'm happy to put it to councillors, but the motion was passed and
Up to 1,500. We put a ceiling on it, didn't we?
We did.
we did.
Because it could escalate.
So we'd need to take another vote to see if we can add that to it, I suppose. Alan, no, you're not Alan, Adam.
I think in addition to the cost, it's can get the advice back in time, because if we're spending money and the advice is not going to come back in time, because the solicitor needs to review the information, then we really are wasting public money. So I don't mind what the council chooses to do, but I'm very concerned that Leslie said that she wouldn't get the advice in time, as well as the cost.
And the group down there said they understand and they're currently exploring additional options.
Alex?
Building on Adam's comment and the query to officers as to whether this counts as a substantial change or not be delay, if a delay were to occur because reconsultation or whatever process needs to follow, that may provide sufficient time I would not be minded to pay for legal advice that isn't going to arrive on time.
All right, well, the clerk's asked for direction, so I think we need a proposal.
If I could come back, I have asked when this would go to committee, and I was told before the bank holiday weekend that the next DMC is going ahead as planned, but that agenda's not been sent yet, but that's due out tomorrow, because it'd be a week on Thursday. So unless you could, so we don't know, but potentially it could be a week on Thursday, it's going to committee as well, I'm trying to say.
So we're unlikely to meet there. But I still think as we've had the motion passed, we need another motion to inform the clerk how we take it forward.
Picking up on something that Alex just said, if the planning officer comes back and says, yes, there is sufficient change within that application or the reapplication, resubmission, to justify further consultation, then that would give us the time.
Yeah, then that buys you 12 weeks.
And that would give us ample time then to get the. So I think the original motion could stand, but we can then come up with an additional motion that basically covers a situation.
So hold off for now.
Had it not been for the general election and what other things that have happened, we could have progressed things on.
I'll take you in a minute, Alex, but are you proposing then, Alan, that we just hold off until after the general election? Or until we know whether
we know if the planning officer was minded to say, yes, there are sufficient changes within the redesign to justify further consultation.
Okay, so we've got a proposal that we hold off spending this money on legal advice until, can you repeat that bit?
Until the planning officer comes back and gives us a decision as to whether or not there is sufficient change within the application to justify further consultation.
All right, does that proposal find a seconder?
Yes.
Dan Harris, all those in favour of that, please show. Any against? An
Except Dan,
abstention? That was not an interest. Thank you.
So didn't we work out that the solicitor that Michelle wanted is it's a developer's legal advice?
The problem arose when Mr. Sampson sent you his advice. That it became apparent that one of the solicitors that Michelle had contacted was exactly the same practice. So therefore, we perceived that to be a potential conflict of interest. So that only left us with the one solicitor that she could possibly go to, or we could go to and get the advice from.
Okay. I'm going to take what's left at a canter if we can. Annual report, I'm assuming that shouldn't still be on there because that's been published in Filton.
It's just because it has been published, that's all.
Okay. Hopefully I had my Filton voice through my letterbox today, so hopefully you've all seen the annual report.
Yep.
Wonderful. Reports from other organisations, there are none listed, and we have lots of reports tonight, so I don't think there's any more than that. Other reports, consultations, no current consultations.
They'll all come out for August.
That's because there's an election.
That's because there's an election, of course. Neighbourhood plan, any update on that?
No, the meeting.
We had a meeting.
We spoke to we did, there was.
Oh, yeah.
There was, the process was discussed with the officers in South Gloss. The aim of the next meeting will be to start considering the priorities that we want.
Wonderful. That's good news.
Wasn't a very good turnout for that one, was that?
That was 3. Maybe worth reminding those members that are on slash get appointed to it. Because it will require time, but I think it would be good for the community. It could help address issues that we know are key for our residents.
I think we've had this with the local nature working group as well. If you obviously councillors can't make every meeting, but if you are on a working group, do try and come along because otherwise they won't be very effective.
Or at least let us know because that officer was kind of on hold for a while.
Local nature action plan, was there any update on that?
No, didn't.
haven't had a meeting.
No update because there hasn't been a meeting. So again, do try and come along to these working groups if you volunteer to be on them. B team report. Well, we had a presentation, so I don't think we need to consider that. In which case, thank you all very much for coming. I will bring the meeting to a close.
Thanks, Chair.
Can I just make everybody aware that our office will be closed for Thursday, Friday, and most of Monday?